Welcome back to Chow Time Pod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from O'Shea Duke Jackson. You know, modern women are so broke in New York. They are selling this. Wonder what they're selling? You guys know exactly what they're selling. And at least my audience does. You know, women want to say they're strong, independent, they don't need no man. More and more women are being led into this industry, and then it's not by choice, like the OnlyFans girls. Please subscribe down below. I really appreciate that, and let's get to that chow. It's chow time.
2023 is ending, and now we're going into 2024. And
this year has gone by so quick.
Life is just getting harder. It is no longer like it used to be even 30 or 40 years ago. You can go to school, get educated, work for yourself, take care of your family, maybe on one salary. Nope, that's not the world we live in. With real estate interest rates going up.
Real estate, like I told you guys, my friend bought a house in San Diego, $1.2 million. It is a 100-year-old house built in 1923. And it's pretty much a fixer-upper. So 1.2, and their payments are like 8.4 thousand a month. That's a California, guys. Inflation.
And jobs much harder to find. It seems like you need a community of people around you just to survive. And one of those groups who are affected by these changes are typically women and children. Now, why is that? Well, men don't really need a lot. And we've already seen from many sources that a lot of men are even staying at home, not procreating, not marrying, and not having kids, thus meaning their cost of living is a lot lower. If you're a woman and you have a child, that's a different story, especially if you're living in one of the world's most expensive cities, New York City. And not to mention that, let's say for an example, you're an immigrant. You're just a first generation immigrant coming into New York City where you don't really have a college education or you don't really have a lot of advantages in your life. Well, what do you resort to doing? Well, that's very interesting because Pix 11 News made this story called "So Many Prostitutes Out in New York" that a news special had to report on this. Many women turning to the streets to survive. Let's check out that clip.
During school hours, they're out.
Yeah, them being out, it's like, I'm for legalization of prostitution, you know? I am not for this, though. This is not legalization. These are women are probably getting taken advantage of. Likely, unlikely, depending, you know? And it's all broad in daylight, and it's everywhere where kids, everybody can see it. At least red light districts and most other places is hidden away in an area where kids aren't just walking past all the time.
All the prostitution is taking up every single block. They will be out with their pimps and they don't care.
Jaylene Lugo is 14 years old and taking the number 7 train home from high school for the first time. With a Kirby doll on her book bag.
Yeah, Kirby.
Her walk on Roosevelt Avenue is a jolt out of childhood innocence.
I gotta say, that's pretty crazy. It literally looks almost like, you know, Thailand or something.
I've seen teenage boys go up to the prostitutes.
In one busy spot on 90th Street, men are led downstairs to a brothel on a regular basis.
This is turning into a red light district in Bangkok. You walk up and down from the 70s all the way down to the hundreds. And all you're going to see are different massage parlors with women outside soliciting men. There's no moral compass anymore.
Pix 11 even found women sitting on mattresses outside a furniture store near 93rd Street.
That's crazy. And you see a lot of them are Asian women too. So this is definitely some kind of human trafficking going on here.
One of many scenes unsettling Jaylene's mother.
I grew up in this neighborhood. I've been here for 31 years. I was born and raised
She looks just like her daughter. Doesn't even look much older than her daughter. Holy cow, she looks so young.
here, and what I'm seeing here today is not what I grew up seeing.
We have been reporting on sex workers and trafficking on Roosevelt Avenue for nearly 20 years.
You know, I live in LA. I live on like the border of LA and OC in California. I'm noticing a lot more here too. Like there's 2 major streets that I know of. There's Figueroa and then there's Beach on the OC side. I'm in the beach side a lot just because that's where I work at. And I see a lot more women walking out there scantily clad on the street, walking up and down. You know, I don't go to Figueroa much, but I'm seeing it in my side of town. So I can't imagine most major cities are going to have something very similar.
The numbers we're seeing now seem unprecedented.
This is happening during school hours, and it's even worse at night.
On a recent Friday, Pix 11 News saw activity in the 80s on Roosevelt Avenue, with one man apparently steering customers to a spot that was close to a barber shop.
We are seeing more Latina women doing prostitution. I think those women have no other options.
Some are Venezuelan, Colombian, and they are having their own massage parlors alongside with the Asians.
By day, Pix 11 News noticed a row of women near a physical therapy office on 92nd Street. The manager inside telling us it's hurting his business.
Because patients, they don't come in to do.
You know, I have nothing against sex work. I have nothing against really OnlyFans in a sense. The only thing is this just take advantage of men, but these men are idiots also, so take advantage of them. But I also think that this should be legalized, just the protection. Like, these women are out there probably being pimped. That's what they're saying. I don't truly know, but it is dangerous when there's no protection in an industry for you. Like, it is a very dangerous industry, you know. So if it actually gets legalized, they will actually get support. Men would get support. You know, it's not just the men that are being, like, the women that are being protected. The men that patron these women would be protected too, you know. So you don't get, you know, STDs. You don't get, you know, murdered and robbed or whatever it is, or battered on the opposite end. This is where I think legalization does, you know, put a good thing in. But you just hide it away in a little section of town, you know, like, where this doesn't happen. That's where I'm kind of like at about it.
Therapy, because they are being harassed.
We spotted a surveillance camera over the tiny hallway where the alleged brothel is located.
Everything just looks so unsavory, you know. Like, if, like, at least in Amsterdam, like how the red light district works and everything, it's pretty presentable overall. It's not near schools. It's not where a lot of people walk. No, people are in this area, this neighborhood, for these particular reasons.
Which had wallpaper on its door. Eddie said police shut it down several weeks ago.
I was happy, and then after 2 weeks, they came again.
The manager of a cell phone store on the other side is also aggravated.
Porque nos afecta el negocio. Los clientes no quieren entrar, aparte de...
In late September, Macia Lugo organized a march along Roosevelt Avenue, carrying posters in the rain. But she said she's having a hard time getting the attention.
Yeah, look at them walking together. They look like sisters. You can't even tell one's a mother, one's a child.
Of politicians. At one point, she attended a town hall
this sucks.
run by the Queensborough president, Donovan Richards.
When he ended the meeting, I said, what about all the questions regarding prostitution? Because we all submitted questions regarding the prostitution, and they skipped all those questions. He did not like that I spoke out. He said, do not call out. But when the cameras turned off, he spoke to me on the side, and he told me this has been a problem for many years. And I was like, not to this extent.
Mayor Adams, come back here and start taking care of business. We need New York and we need Queens to start to look the way it's supposed to. And it's not like this.
Mayor Adams has told us he'd be willing to make a visit with us to Roosevelt Avenue. He has already checked out the situation at least once at 1:30 in the morning. But we explained to the mayor what school kids are exposed to during the day. We've also made contact with the borough president's office, and we'll have more tomorrow night at 10. I'm Mary Murphy, Pix 11 News.
And guys, as you have seen, this is really getting out of hand. And the reason why it is because the brothel exchange is happening in broad daylight. You heard what the judge support. It becomes quite difficult, not only for the society, but for that community. And when women don't have support, they are at risk. Just imagine, you being a lady on the streets and you're subject to, the possibility of pimping or mean men or turning into drugs. Hey, that could wreak havoc on a society.
Yeah,
but what about the kids? I mean, if you guys saw that situation where these young kids are going to school and they're seeing this, let me tell you, man, I remember when the crack epidemic happened and you used to literally see crackheads running out in the middle of the street naked. Imagine being at baseball practice or, Pop Warner football practice, and then you see just some, crackhead just like running down the street with no clothes on.
Story time. We used to own a gas station, and the gas station was in a very, ghetto part of town. And I saw similar things all the time. I saw a lot of people come in, this is like coming to order a soda, and they're just like, and like you can tell that they're on drugs, like, and it just takes them like 5 minutes just to point and order something behind the counter. And I've seen worse. I've seen one where a woman, it was late at night, I don't know what kind of drugs she was on. All of a sudden, she just started taking off all of her clothes. She became butt naked in our store, ran out of our store into the street, and got hit by a semi. That was a crazy thing to see in person, and yes, that was late at night, so kids didn't see it, but that's the type of neighborhood I was in where it's a normal thing for these kids to see.
I used to see stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
And it was not cool. It was not safe. And the thing that I want to tell people is that, this is what's going on. It is what's happening.
That
and
it
for a
is.
lot of people out there that felt like, well, you know what? I'm independent. I don't need people. I don't need no man or woman. And I'm going to tell you guys, listen, we're getting a situation where no matter if you're single or not, you need to have some level of a community around you to help you. All right. Being out there by yourself, solo out there by yourself is not the way to go. I don't care where you at. I learned that.
This is why the strong, independent boss babe thing is such a joke, because men aren't even like this. Like we know the value that the other sex brings to us, or can bring to us. We just don't want to deal with it because a lot of them aren't bringing those values that we want.
The hard way, living here in Africa, if you can have people around you in the community, in business, it helps. It helps.
It's 100%. This is why the Asian community does so well. Right? When we come in, we build the whole community. We build a Chinatown, a Vietnamese town, a Cambodia town, and then we'll have offices made to help out the Cambodian community. Like when people come over, they don't know how to fill out paperwork. Some of them don't know how to read. Some of them don't know about anything. So this community center will help them fill out paperwork, will help them apply for things, help them get jobs, help them get a place to stay. Like the community helps each other. It was built that way, right? When you don't, yes, the community, it's hard for a community to thrive if people aren't helping each other, push each other up to the next level. Like if Asians didn't do this, we wouldn't be at the level where we are now in society. But it's because Asians really protected ourselves and, pushed ourselves up and did our best to help other Asian people out. It worked out that way. Like Indians are a very great example of this. I think Indian people are the best example of this. They really do help. They help each other out even in corporate settings. So when an Indian man becomes like a CEO or a high-end corporate ladder, he helps bring all of his Indian friends and all of his Indian community into high corporate executive levels also. And other Asians, not so much on that part.
Helps a lot. All right. And if you can get it, you need to stick with that. But a lot of these ladies don't have it. No. And it's hard. When you're a woman and you don't have help, let's say if you're a single mom, you're working all day, you have a child, you're paying rent, you're cooking, you're cleaning for the kid. And if that don't pay the rent, well, what other options do you have? If you don't have more time for a job or guaranteed income, you're turning into this. And that is the result of a lot of men saying, well, you know what? I don't really want to be a dad. I really don't want to be married to these ladies. I don't want to take on the responsibility of helping women in the community for the fact that I don't feel like I'm going to get anything out of it. And True. That is something that we really got to look at as society because
we're not, I don't think O'Shea or myself or anybody is faulting men for not wanting to deal with it, but it sucks. It does bring the community down in a sense when men don't want to help out, and nothing wrong with it. I'm not one to advocate to help out single mothers too much or to be with single mothers, but the more single mothers there are and the more men they're just leaving them alone, the worse the neighborhood and the community kind of becomes. And this is true.
When that gets worse, everything gets worse. The moment that men start to really say, oh, for sure, I don't want to take care of women anymore. I don't want to support women anymore. You know, I don't want to be responsible for ladies in my community. The minute we start to say that in our society, we are in serious, serious trouble. Just sit there and watch crime go up. You know, the last neighborhood I was living in, I lived there for most of my adult life, was Del Paso Heights. I love it. But it got so bad. And it's still getting bad. It's getting worse because so many men in the community just like, you know what, we're done. We don't care about what goes on here. And like I said, the minute that you have that family, it is not good. Mm-hmm. It is really not good. And that is something that I really, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that women and children are living like that, but that's the reality. And that's the reality of what happens when you say, you know what, we don't need men. Men are not important. And we don't care anything about what you think. When you start to say stuff like that, you got to really be careful.
And then you get put in positions that where you are now. Yeah, you said you didn't need men. You didn't care for what we thought. Now you guys are in the positions of shit like this. Now you need men to actually come in and step in and help, but men are not willing.
Of what you're really talking about, guys. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode of the Celebrity Junk.
Yeah, that was not good chow. It is, to me at least. Like, it's not like I'm happy to see these things. These things are what leads society down to a worse rabbit hole. Women not getting protection like they used to. But it's also women's fault, women's choices that they made to where they are now. They're the ones that chose to be single mothers. They're the ones that chose to sleep around and do all these things. They're the ones that chose to trash men. And men just responded. We just responded. Please like and subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.